Dave, you gave the lads a bit of a break after Saturday off until Wednesday. Do you feel like the group have benefited from that?
You'd hope so. I don't think it makes a huge deal of difference. I think that the opportunity for us to have I suppose, a bit of a mental break earlier in the season was taken away in the fact that the next round of the League Cup came along. And we don't benefit, if that's the word you should use, from international breaks, with only having a couple of players that sort of qualify and not being eligible to sort of miss or games be postponed. So this was one that fitted with the game being moved to Monday for the TV. And like I say, I said to the players after the game, we're just over a quarter of the way through, and was a chance to, I suppose, like I say, switch off mentally more than anything else, and still have a normal lead into what's a really important game for us on Monday.
Obviously, playing on Monday a couple of days after everyone else, does that have any impact on the way in which you prepare, not just for this game, but I suppose the following week going into Tranmere?
Not really. There'll be a knock-on effect, but it just becomes a shorter week next week, a longer week this week. So we'll always treat days as days relating to games. So Saturday, Sunday become training days for us. And then next week will be slightly different. We'll most likely have the lads in on the Tuesday later on after the game to see how everyone is and see how everyone recovers, and do a session with the lads who aren't involved. Have the Wednesday off, and then just do a normal lead in, a 2-day lead into the cup game against Tranmere on the following Saturday.
3 wins in a row now, 6 unbeaten in the league. Does this feel like another one of those Chally runs, or is it too early to say?
It's probably too early to say, and we hope it's the start of a long run. It's always tough, and sometimes you take for granted how difficult it is to win football matches consecutively. But it's important that you're consistent, and if consistency means there's a draw in there, or you have to, at times you will lose a game, that you react in the right way and bounce back. And the consistency over the course of the period that I've been here has been a real strong point of ours, and we hope that will be the case this year. So we definitely want to try and continue the run that we're on. We knew, and you'll go through, I suppose, games where people on the outside will make perceptions of whether it's a easy game, a difficult game. So you look at what we've just been through, going to Huddersfield, everyone would have said, a difficult place to go when you win the game. And then when you then play Blackpool, who have started the season not as they would have hoped, and Exeter, who, again, aren't up the top of the table, people think that's it's nailed on 6 points. It never works like that, especially when we're playing at home, because people will come and play in a different way than they might play when they're playing at the home ground, when they think there's a better chance of winning 3 points. But it becomes a sort of tactical test, but it also becomes a mental test, because you, and we certainly wouldn't, but everybody outside of the our dressing room, inside the ground, are expecting us to just roll them teams over. It never or rarely works like that. But what we did do is put in 2 performances that did enough to get us 6 points from the 2 games, which is massively important. Hopefully we can continue that in what's a really tough away game on Monday.
You're 4 points better off than you were at this stage last season. If you win on Monday, that will be 7 better off than this stage last year. Do you feel like you're ahead of where you were this time last year? Does it feel like things have clicked a little bit quicker?
No, I don't think so. And it doesn't really matter how many points we are ahead of last year. Ultimately, it matters at the end of the season how many points we are ahead of last year. And if we know from last year we had a really, really good one, if we can finish 5 points ahead of where we did last year, we'd be in the 90s, and you think that's historically would tell you that's a good score that would, or good points total that would finish in the automatic places. It doesn't make a difference now, really. There could be teams that you look at last year with Birmingham that run away with the league and put a ridiculous amount of points on, and everyone else is pretty tight. The way the league is at the moment, it looks pretty close. But you've just got to, like I say, we're really early in with 13 games. In terms of where we're at, like I say, injuries probably to some of the newer lads that we've brought in have hampered that integration from their perspective on the pitch, not off the pitch. You use the time as you can, but with the issues we've had with Malik and with Teo and with R2 and with Dodge, and again all the way through really, they're lads that we want to get fitted into the group. We want to get them fitted into the group in terms of how we play on the pitch and the work that we can do with them on the pitch. So that probably means, in my eyes, we're a little bit behind. But hopefully, with that in mind, there's more improvement to come.
Another goal from a set piece on Saturday. I think that was something that you spoke about in your 9-game review as an area you need to improve. It certainly seems like we've started to see that improvement in the last few weeks.
It's something we were really strong at last year, both for and against. We've been disappointed with some of the goals we've conceded against this year with our set pieces. We've not changed anything. I think midway through last year, after the Lincoln game, we changed how we defended from corners, and we were probably in the top 2 defensively from corners. But one moment, the goal we conceded made us think about things and challenge each other and go about it in a different way. And we were really consistent in the back part of the season in how we defended corners, especially. Again, that's probably happened this year. It's probably not been from corners, more from free kicks and our line and how we've defended in certain areas, which we've tweaked a little bit to try and prevent that. We've probably not had, again, which helps, not conceded as many free kicks in dangerous areas over the past few games, and not had really the huge opportunities to practice or see what that looks like in a competitive environment. And then in possession, in terms of our set pieces, we've got, like I say, people who can really deliver the ball. So we should be a threat. We needed and felt we needed to be a bigger threat than what we are. We looked at it from a coaching perspective, and you'll spend probably the pre-season doing quite a bit on set pieces because you're bedding down your principles. And then once the season starts, because of the quick turnaround in games at the very start, you don't get real opportunities to work on them. You end up doing maybe 10 or 15 minutes on the match day -1 of what routines you might do the following day, if you like, or in the next game. So when we've had this block of, I suppose, Saturday to Saturday fixtures, it's give us a chance to potentially try and work on things. We've got to be better at that. And almost you'll see teams now that have set piece coaches and things, and we don't and won't, but we'll utilise the staff we've got to make sure that it feels like we do. So we'll review our own set pieces and team and opposition set pieces early in the week. We'll try it if we can and get some work in terms of delivery and stuff with players earlier in the week. So when you come to a Friday, if you like, a match day -1, it's not just fresh. It's something that we've spoken about a little bit. We may have shown them some video stuff just to try and get us ahead of the curve. We speak about winning the set piece game. It was something that was going to be important for us at the start of the season. There's obviously a board up in the players' lounge which gets updated every week. We're not on the positive yet on that, so hopefully over the coming weeks we can continue to tilt the balance and get on a positive number in terms of set pieces goals for and against.
You spoke after the game on Saturday about your options off the bench, players unavailable, players needing to get up to the speed. In the top flight, I'm sure you'll have seen Mikel Arteta talking about starters and finishers. Is it a case of you maybe not having the finishers that you need in certain situations in games at the minute?
Yeah, definitely, and not having the finishers at a level that they need, or we need them to be at, and that's not through any fault of their own. Most of them have been injured, and when you have players coming back from injuries and you're relying on largely the same team all the way through, that's always going to be the case, and it becomes a little bit of a vicious circle around players who haven't been involved then come back into the fold, but on a level to be able to get the opportunities for long enough, hence why we're having a game today for some of the lads that need minutes. We need to get them up to speed as quickly as possible. We're coming into a period where we'll again go back into some Tuesday fixtures, and at that point that's when we'll need them, because again we love to have continuity and would love to be able to pick our strongest team every single week and name the same team and continue to get good results, but in reality that doesn't happen, and the harder you push people, sometimes they're gonna break either physically or mentally, So to be able to use the squad that we have, and I felt our squad was the strong point of us last year, it's going to be key to keep allowing us to continue the run that we're currently on.
In terms of players coming back available, are we likely to see Benno, Malik or Owen Dodson involved on Monday?
We would. We won't see Dodge for certain. That's not because there's been a setback or anything. It's just he's been out for so long that we have to gradually load him up week on week. So it's not as easy as someone's been out for. Again, it'll be the same with a Beatty, I suppose. If Beatty's out for 4 months, well, naturally he's going to need at least probably 6 weeks training to be able to build his load up from nothing to where we need to be in order for nothing else to sort of go wrong. The same with Dodge, has been out for 8 weeks. So there's going to be a natural thing that says he's got to do certain outcomes to tick off over the weeks, then be able to be involved. So possibly the cup game, but again, he'll have played no minutes. They probably may have been involved in training, but he'll have played no minutes. The other two, more likely, Malik and Benno, we'll have a look at both of them today. Malik's obviously, again, in a different situation in terms of it's his birthday today, so happy birthday to him, but it also as well his partner's expecting and due to give birth, so there's things happening off the pitch that could affect the situation, but fingers crossed both of them will be available for us hopefully Monday and certainly after that, hopefully.
Looking at Port Vale, interesting one really, because when you look at the underlying data, the performances are right up at the top end of League One. They'll probably be disappointed when they look at the league table to not have the results to back those performances up so far.
Yeah, it's the way it works, isn't it? The margins are tiny, and that's why before the Exeter game, if you look at on paper the run that we've been on, and we're playing against Exeter, you look at we've probably won quite a lot of games by the odd goal, and Exeter had lost quite a lot of games by the odd goal and won a lot of games by the odd goal, but the balance is really short. It's exactly the same with Port Vale. Results can be decided on moments of quality, little bits of luck and mistakes, and they've probably had the ups and downs of that more than most. You look at the results through September. I think Darren got nominated for Manager of the Month, so they had an upturn in results, and now it's sort of dropped off a little bit. That will be the case. Like I said, the big thing, as I spoke about, is consistency, and sometimes, and he'll know better than me, because he'll obviously watches all their games, and I just watch a select few around consistency of performances. If your performances can be consistent and consistently at a level that allow you to get results, there'll be no concern from where they're at. They've obviously come up and are coming into a league where the quality does increase, but they've shown that they can win football matches at the level, and win football matches consistently over what was a monthly period. So always a tough place to go, and we expect a really difficult game.
Seem to be on a bit of a former player tour at the minute. You obviously had Fraser and Danny Andrew recently, Connor Jennings next week, the Wimbledon lads next month. Obviously on Monday it's Ryan Crowsdale, who was obviously a big player for you here and at Fylde. Great to see Crosby in League One and performing well.
Yeah, brilliant. You look at, as I said, that we as a football club have moved on and will continually move on. But every player that's moved on from here has gone on and done really well, which says an awful lot. It was only our game kicking off late last Saturday. You start watching Soccer Saturday as the thing comes across, and Paddy scores on the 8th minute, Sarr scores on the 9th minute. So everyone that's gone away has done really well, and it's the most difficult part. We've been really fortunate here to have success and have groups together where there's been special bonds formed between players and staff, and that'll never be forgotten, never be broken. There's nothing more difficult at the end of the season when you've been successful for players to move on, especially from a club perspective. Players will have to make decisions as to where their future lies and what it does. Again, you look, some have step down a division, Paddy step down a division, Saw step down a division, gets promoted, Crosby steps down a division, gets promoted, and now he's playing in League One, which is brilliant. He was, like I say, been great for me at both the clubs that I worked at. You know exactly what you're going to get, and it'll be good to see.
Appreciate your time, Dave. Thank you.
You're welcome. Cheers. Thank you.